South Korea's economy posted its strongest quarterly growth in over 5 years in the first quarter of this year, defying market expectations. The surprise growth comes despite geopolitical risks surrounding the conflict in the Middle East. Our Kim Do-yeon has more.
According to the Bank of Korea's advanced estimate on Thursday, the nation's real gross domestic product grew by 1.7% from the previous quarter. On a yearly basis, it's grown 3.6%. This significantly outperforms expectations and overcomes concerns over the situation in the Middle East, which severely hit South Korea's energy and petroleum sector. In fact, this quarter-on-quarter figure is nearly double the central bank's earlier projection of 0.9% and marks the highest growth rate since the third quarter of 2020.
To summarize the first quarter growth, private consumption acted as a pillar of support, while strong exports centered on semiconductors and investments to expand semiconductor production capacity drove the overall growth.
Looking closely at the data, the manufacturing sector expanded by 3.9%. Overall exports surged 5.1%, heavily fueled by global demand for information technology products. This resulted in net exports contributing 1.1 percentage points to the overall economic growth figure. Domestic demand also showed a solid recovery, adding 0.6 percentage points to the GDP. Facilities investment climbed 4.8% and construction investment rose 2.8%. Private consumption grew by 0.5%, supported by increased spending on goods like clothing. Additionally, real gross domestic income surged 7.5% on quarter. This marks the highest increase since the first quarter of 1988, indicating a significant expansion in the nation's purchasing power due to improved terms of trade. Meanwhile, the government attributed this strong performance to both favorable market conditions and active policy interventions.
In addition to strong exports driven by the semiconductor boom, policy effects such as capital market revitalization and consumption support measures contributed greatly. I also believe our swift response to the Middle East war played a part.
He added that as ceasefire negotiations are delayed and uncertainties remain high, the government will not let its guard down. Prior to this release, the Bank of Korea had projected an annual economic growth rate of 2.1% for the year. But with the positive surprise growth in the first quarter and the negative impact of the Middle East situation expected to become clearer in the second quarter, the public now waits to see which factor weighs the most on the annual growth rate. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.